and welcome back to Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back on the Sony PlayStation 1. I am One Wild Sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are entering the brand new warp room, and as a result, we are now heading into the most difficult level in this game. This is the most tedious level to get through, the most difficult level, as I just said. And this is usually the stage that a lot of people regret going to whenever they replay this game. Me especially. Because, well, this entire part, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to spoil this for you, is just this one stage. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Cold Hard Crash. And of course, it is an ice level, which just adds a little bit more insult to injury, because as you know, ice levels sport those fantastic ice physics, whoa! Which, for the most part, isn't too bad. Actually, one thing I don't think I mentioned with the ice physics is, if you use your slide ability, whenever you're on icy ground, like, right here it's no ice physics, it's just normal ground, but like there, you see that ice? Well, if you press the slide button when you're on this ice, you can actually score ultra fast, and you can manipulate your momentum if you're particularly skilled in doing so. It's a little bit tricky to pull off, but trust me, it is something you're going to want to love, learn, and utilize during the course of the stage. Because like I said, folks, this is the hardest stage in the entire game. Once you beat the stage, you're basically set for the entire playthrough. And of course, there are a lot of issues where you can make stupid mistakes and basically immediately die. This stage is filled with a lot of, well, the most blunt way I can physically put it is dick moves. The stage is covered in dick moves. And we're actually about to see one of those dick moves that I'm hyping up in a few minutes, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, because one of the first ones is coming up in a few seconds. Now for this bonus stage, you just want to be careful by here. Alright, this is the dick move I was talking about. See this? Jump off that, because there is a hidden crate off screen. Naughty Dog, that's no cool. That's not cool, Naughty Dog, don't do that. There's no indicator that that crate is there, and this stage has over 100 crates to collect. Like I said, this is a 10-minute stage, and I'm editing out the majority of the deaths as well, so it's a very long stage, it's very tedious. I'm not a big fan of it, and I don't know anybody who really does like this stage. Now, if I'm not going for a gem run, this stage isn't too bad, but collecting the gems, collecting all of the boxes, that is where this stage becomes a tedious mess. It becomes annoying. And this is probably the only real black mark I have against this game. And I won't even so much call it a black mark, because while it's a tedious stage and very annoying stage at that, I still enjoy playing it. It's just, it's the worst one in the game by far, and it's purely because the difficulty is just out of the blue. Oh, by the way, you also need to reach this point without dying, because otherwise you won't be able to get the gem. Because what we need to do by here is we need to go through this death path, and we need to go through this death path twice, at least. So, yeah, you're right, we need to go through this at least twice, and there is a very big reason why we need to do this. But first things first, we need to be careful here. As you can tell, there's actually a little transparent crate thing to our left. So in order to collect that, we need to traverse to the end of the course in order to activate a an exclamation mark point box thingy. You've seen them at this point in the game already. And then we need to backtrack all the way to destroy this. It's just not cool, alright? It's just not cool. And I gotta love them ice physics sticking me over. Oh. But for the first, when you're going through the stage, the first run through, because you, like I said, you have to go through it twice if you're getting the gems, don't worry about collecting all the boxes. There is a very specific reason why, and that's because at the very end of this little runway, there is actually a gem that's over the top of this pit. You need to grab the gem and fall down the pit. Like, that's the only way I can find to actually grab the gem, so you trust me, you need to do that. And there's a lot of trial and error, ladies and gentlemen, you know, folks. Even though this is 10 minutes long, this part, this stage took me well over 30 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating, just because I died repeated amount of times, just due to the difficulty of it. This is, like I said, the only possible black mark, and as I said, it's not really so much a black mark as it is a grey mark, because it's still a fun stage, it's just, it's the weakest one. It's the weakest one. And I do feel that Crash Bandicoot 2 is at its weakest. Well, not even Crash Bandicoot 2, all the Crash Bandicoot games are at their weakest whenever you have to do backtracking in stages, because the games aren't designed for backtracking, they're designed for just going straight, you know, they're designed with the whole gotta go fast mentality. Which, as you guys know, I'm a big Sonic fan, so I kind of dig that mentality sometimes. But I digress. Anyway, you also you need to be careful as well whenever you're on these ice physics, because I think I might have brought it up before. The ice physics are a little wonky in that. Oh god, that's one way to abuse the system, I suppose. Alright, there you go. This is the gem I talked about. You need to grab the gem, jump down the cliff, otherwise you're screwed. But yeah, grab the gem, jump down here. Don't grab the checkpoint and kill yourself, because then we need to do that all over again. It's pretty fun times. Fortunately, I'm going to speed it up. Now, as I was saying before I got interrupted by my own gem collection there, whenever you're on the ice, one thing you will need to make sure you do is... Not that. But what you need to make sure you do is you need to make sure that you're at a standstill whenever you're sliding. Because you're sliding, even if it looks... Basically, stop yourself from moving and then wait for a few seconds before you jump, because you still carry momentum even if it looks like you shouldn't have any momentum, so just be a bit careful. But anyway, all the way back at the end of this area, all the way at the end of the death run here, we need to collect that one exclamation mark to gain access to that one box that is on the other side, right at where we started. And basically, we haven't even seen... I think we're pretty much at the halfway point of the level now, ladies and gentlemen. You know, folks, it's a lengthy stage. It's pretty frustrating. It's pretty tedious, and the game's flipping us off. What? I've always picked... That's all I've always thought. That there is a perfect analogy of what Naughty Dog's doing to us. They're just giving us the bird with this level. That's all I've thought of. But anyway, you do need to use that exclamation mark to get that one box. So fun times. But we can't go back to the end of the death route again to progress, because there is another entire half of a level up in the normal route. It's just a lot of busy work, you know, ladies and gentlemen, the stages. It's just a lot of going from point A to point B, then back to point A again in order to get to point C. If you know what I mean. It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest. But fortunately, the game's kind enough to give us plenty of lives and plenty of Wumpa fruit. I love saying that. Wumpa fruit. I don't know. I think it's because it just sort of pops off your tongue when you say it. Wumpa. Wumpa. Am I the only one with that? Anyone? Yeah? Okay. Oh, well, either way. Spin the box, you numpty! What are you doing? Jesus. It's frustrating watching yourself play games sometimes, I have to be honest. But anyway, I have to say as well, I always find those penguin enemies to be a little bit tricky at points, because whenever they're spinning, they have invincibility frames, which, if you're unlucky, sometimes I find myself trying to attack them, they just start spinning, and then they will kill me. And I don't know, it just drives me absolutely mad whenever whenever that happens. Same sort of thing happens with the hedgehog enemies as well, where whenever the hedgehog enemies have their spines out, then well, it hurts. And it just makes me really, really paranoid with these enemy types. I don't know. Like, I understand with the hedgehogs why it happens, but I'm not a big fan of things like touch damage and whatnot in games. Well, I know technically what these enemies are doing isn't touch damage, but that is something I might as well bring out because I'm running out of commentary for the stage. Touch damage is one thing in games that I think isn't needed anymore. Like, I know why they had it back in the days, because they couldn't really do too much with the hardware they used to run on. But these days, you don't need touch damage anymore. I just like to know that the enemies won't physically hurt you unless they directly attack you, as it should be. And I see a lot more games recently are taking that mentality into account, like Freedom Planet, for example. That game, that's basically Sonic the Hedgehog, but the enemies, they only hurt you if they attack you, you know, folks. I like it when games go the extra mile to do something like that. Anyway, those nitro crates I just went completely past. Those are very tricky to get hold of. There is one crate behind those. You need to sort of sneak your way towards behind the crates using the very tiny crevice sitting next to them. It's very annoying, very tricky little thing, and you might recognize this area, ladies and gentlemen, because now we're back to where we died when we got the first gem. That's right, that leads us all the way over here. So yeah, we basically need to go all the way to the checkpoint in order to go back to the checkpoint. You know, folks, the stage design. I'm not saying stage design is bad, because it's really not a bad design stage. I'm gonna say it's frustrating and absolute nightmare, but it's not bad, you know, folks. Now, if you run a really badly designed game, then you look at things like Bubsy 3D and what have you. This is still playable, you know, it's still pretty damn good. And I don't know, whenever I think of this game, I always think of this one section with these metal crates send you up to the stage exit. I don't know why, it's always the first thing that popped in my head. Probably, I think I might have to blame the Half-Life mod for that. Not Half-Life mod. There's a Left 4 Dead mod that allows you to play Crash Bandicoot 2 levels. And I played the hell of that mod back in the day. And they used to have that one sequence block for block, so that's probably why. But I digress. That's the worst stage in the game, over and done with, ladies and gentlemen. Which means the hard part is over! It's easy sailing. Well, I say easy. It's easy-ish sailing from this point onwards. And yeah, Crash, go ahead and dance. You earned it this one, buddy. You earned it. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this part. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. And when we return next time, we will be continuing onwards with the rest of this warp room. I can't even be bothered to keep count of the warp rooms anymore, so I'm just going to say this warp room from this point onwards. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish. Catch you all again. Bye!